So part of your skill is narrowing it down. It's sort of knowing which systems work for
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
clients.
And I don't always know right away when I talk to someone,
Yeah.
I got to spend some time with them, figure out what do you do? How do you do it? And then I'll try to go find something that works for them, that actually works for them,
Right.
instead of just shoving the thing that I get paid to recommend down their
Exactly.
throat.
Yes, that's a really
Yeah.
good point. Yeah.
So I'm a tech. Well, my children always say I'm not tech savvy, which is fair to say. But those things are, to me, not. They are necessary. I see the relevance of understanding your insights, or appearing on page one, and so. But they're not things that you have to have.
True.
Compared to, I need a. If I'm going to have a podcast, I have to have a host, and I have to understand what that means, how it works, how to upload my podcast to it, and so on.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think that for a lot of us, we kind of skirt over that stuff that isn't an absolute requirement. It's
Yeah.
essential, but it's not a
Yeah.
requirement to function in business.
Yep.
And I think that, when you think about prioritizing things, it's really helpful to have someone like you, Alex, where you're the guy that people can come to, and you can explain, like, this is what you need, even
Hmm.
if it's not essential to you, functioning. It is
Yeah.
essential to you succeeding. And there can be a
Yeah.
difference in that.
Yeah, there's only so much, especially because I like to work with small businesses. Like mid, large size, but they have to have these tools. You can't manually do all the things that are required. But for small businesses, like you said, it is not a necessity. But it will stunt your ability to grow and scale. You can only do so much with writing things down, or spreadsheets, or your memory. You just can't. And that's where it's not really about the money, because these things are fairly cheap. It's about the time, and getting out of your comfort zone, that a lot of people just don't want to do. They've been doing a thing for a while, and it works, so don't touch it, is what I get from people.
Very, very common. Yeah.
So what's your favorite tool to use for just organizing your life?
uh, for service-based businesses, I'd have to say Jobber. Jobber is awesome. And actually, it's a company that I would love to work for as a software engineer, but they're out of Canada, and they are not hiring US workers. But I bug them every time. Everybody there knows me. Every time they post something on LinkedIn, I comment on it. I'm always asking when they're hiring US people. So when they do, I know that they will already know who I am. But yeah, I was with them since the beginning. I think the company started about 10 years ago, and I got in when the software was actually very basic. And even then, it changed everything for me, because I was using like Google Calendar and a couple spreadsheets, and I would forget to bill people sometimes, because it falls through the cracks. And
Yeah.
I'm out there doing the hard work every day. I can't come home. I can't. I don't want to come home and spend 3 hours in front of the computer,
And then work at home. Yeah.
you know, just documenting, putting estimates together. With this software, I was able to do them in the field from my phone. This is what it is. What's your email? All right, you got it. There's a button there for you to approve it. Let me know. And so it just changed everything for me, and it's evolved so much over the years. So that's one that I really try to push for service-based companies, where you go to your client to perform a service physically. It lends itself very well to that. And then the other one, I guess, would have to be Trello. It's a free project management tool, and I set up a Trello board for anyone that I work with, just for us to have a place to keep our stuff,
Just
and for us
everything
to,
essential.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
And it's so
Yeah,
customizable.
Adrian tried to do that with me
I tried to do it with
and my co-pioneer.
Monday.com. Yeah.
Monday, yeah, that's
Yeah.
another, yeah.
So we had here's Ryan and I, not at all techie, and then Adrian's doing all this tech stuff, and he's trying to get us to follow Mondays, and we had our own kind of system, and it was chaos.
You should see it. Yes.
It was chaos. So there were documents all over the
It's
place.
a Google Doc. Yeah.
There were several documents. There were notes all over the place. My dog has
And
joined
here's
us
our other
well.
co-hosts. Yeah.
We that's the whole thing. So we knew which Google Doc had what in it.
Sure.
We had a system, right?
Oh yeah.
And then Adrian comes along and sets up this Mondays, and that's great, except that we kept forgetting to look in that one. Now,
Yeah.
I think that the thing is, is getting your head around and committing to using these tools and really seeing value in it. I'm sorry, this is one of those TV blooper things. You remember those shows where like the animals all keep doing weird stuff? Anyway, it's the whole thing. So I think it's a matter of, really kind of seeing the value in it.
Yeah.
And then because you don't have to, right? We were making this work with Google Docs.
Yeah.
And then, going to someone like you and getting it set up.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to make it work.
And a lot of these things you have to feed them. They need to be fed the information. They need to be fed the data in order to work, be able to work for you. And so that's where automation kind of gets rid of part of that. Where if I can somehow integrate or automate something for it to be fed automatically, then you need to get in there and use it, or it's just going to build up and build up and build up. So that's half of it. But yeah, you do need to use these tools. They work very much in tandem with your day to day. And once you find a system, and a lot of it is just habit forming. Like going in there, setting aside a time. Okay, I need to go in there at least an hour a day and make sure everything's lined up properly, or take this thing and put it here. But automation is something that really alleviates that. And you can over automate things too, and then you're like, I don't even know what's going on. So
what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. But I work in crisis management. I'm an A-type personality, and I thrive that way. But then you get to a point when, if you genuinely are going to grow your business, and this is why I wanted to invite you onto the podcast, because I think there's, it's a very short-term solution. If you are planning on growing your business and you don't have those things in, it's going to become even more painful to put them in as you get bigger, and once you've reached maximum capacity without those tools.
Yeah, and also when you grow, you bring other people into your team, and now you're talking about having to teach someone else your very, not barbaric, but your very proprietary system that you put together, and now you have to teach that to them and make sure that they use it. And so there's a continuity there, and if you lose that person, then you're back to square one. So what a lot of these systems, or a lot of these CRMs do, is it allows someone to just jump in. Here's all the information you have, and this is what we use. And so it's great for team collaboration.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I mean, you cover the whole range, and what I love is that a lot of people, if you employ them, they will set it up for you, and then you have to keep contacting them and paying them and so on to be able to. So, say for example, a podcast, but you do training in it. So that people can then take it back and own it themselves. And I think that's a wonderful business model. That's such a strength.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's kind of a bridge between, I guess, setting these things up and like IT support. I have a local nonprofit here that was doing dispute resolution, for people when they're arguing over custody and things like that. And when they would do all this in person. And when COVID happened, they had to switch to completely remote, and almost everyone that worked there was just not good with computers, which was really bad for them. So they basically hired me to I spend about an hour or two a week with everyone there. And it started with simple things like how to schedule an event on the calendar, how to invite people to it, how to do very simple things with email, like forwarding. And now we're moving on to even more advanced stuff. And now they're adopting a CRM finally, after me telling them for months, like, hey, you need this. You're doing everything on spreadsheets. Mistakes are happening. I had one of the girls just completely messed up the entire spreadsheet because she didn't know that in Excel you could continue typing into a block even though it's only this big. So she just spaced out an entire paragraph over like 30 different blocks so that it would take up the whole area. And so that was fun. But you don't know, and so having someone that's willing to help you learn these things without mocking you or making you feel stupid is empowering. And now she looks forward to working with us. When in the beginning she was terrified. She actually cried the first time we were on there. She was just so, I don't know if it was humiliated or overwhelmed at what was about to happen, that she just lost it. And that's when I realized, like, this is a real thing that people suffer with, So
I can relate to that. I mean, not so much on the Excel, but then I've used that for a while. But I've done equally basic mistakes, on things where I just can't see it. and there'll be a big, huge compose button. And I just go, I can't see how to compose, things like that.
Yeah.
It's just knowing where to look and knowing, and it is a lot about confidence, which is what I love about your work, because you might think, oh, it's more tech, but it isn't. It's about confidence. And I know you get that, because when we've spoken in the past, I mean, you've done this because you had a landscape business and didn't know anything about landscaping, right? So,
Nope.
I mean, how crazy.
I didn't even mow my own lawn as a kid.
Wow.
So the first time I used a lawnmower, I got paid to do it, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, I bet it was. Yeah.
So where does that come? How do you get that to be able to go out and offer something that you've never done before?
Well, it's not too long of a story, but so my wife, we were both in the Navy. I was her recruiter, actually. I put her in the Navy, and then I got out shortly after. But so her first the first place she was stationed at was in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's when I had my first e-commerce business down in Tampa, where I was liquidating businesses in the States, and it went very well. Then she got stationed in Jacksonville, so we moved there, and the market just was not there. There was just not, it just wasn't there. It's a very low income area in Jacksonville. So I went months and months and months trying to get this business off the ground. Couldn't really get clients with enough stuff for me to turn a profit. And we had a lawn guy. We had a guy cutting our grass, and we were paying him $75 or a month or something like that. So to save money, I told my wife, look, I can go get a $250 lawnmower, and after 4 months, it basically pays for itself if we stop paying the lawn guy. So I'll start cutting the grass. I got that. Went out and bought it, and was on Craigslist when we still used to use that. And I was just looking for random jobs to do, random anything, just to kind of fill the time. I'm not opposed to doing anything. My pride is not, no. So I saw and had this lady had posted, she had a picture of her lawn. It was a little overgrown. And she said, I need to get my lawn cut today. My landlord, this, that, and the other, security deposit. So I have $60 if someone can come mow my lawn today. And so I messaged her and I said, hey, I just bought a lawnmower. I'm dying to use this thing. My lawn guy just did my grass. So I'd love to come cut your grass. And she said, come on over. So it should have only taken me about 45 minutes, but it took me an hour and a half. I had to figure out how to start the thing and all this other stuff. So, but I got it mowed. It wasn't the prettiest thing. And an hour and a half later, I had $60 in my hand, and I was like, okay. So I went and I created a Facebook page, and it was called Last Minute Lawns. I didn't even register the business. A lot of people think you have to go out and go do your LLC and get all this stuff. You just try something out, until you make a certain amount of money. You don't even have to have any of these things, right? So I did Last Minute Lawns, and I just went on I went on Facebook, I posted it there, made a couple Craigslist ads. Before you know it, I was having people just call me like, hey, Alex, I need my grass cut today. And I was underpriced. But that doesn't matter. I was just figuring it out. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's how it started. I started taking it seriously when I had a few people say, hey, can you come every 2 weeks? I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just doing, I don't want, I'm just trying this. This is just something I'm doing temporarily. But yeah, over time, I started taking on a few of those clients. And then, by the time I had about 15 of them, I couldn't keep track anymore of when I needed to go, how much they owed me, because I was doing it all manually. And that was the first time I adopted a CRM. And so, yeah. And then we moved here to Washington, and I had to, again, so I did this in Florida for about a year or two. I kind of figured out, I don't know if you know the difference between warm and cold weather landscape and grass, but it's all different. There is not one thing here that grows in Florida and vice versa. So we're driving across the country, and I'm like, man, I got to start another business now. And we get here, and I'm just overwhelmed at the amount of stuff that is growing here in Washington. Yeah. And the grass, everything was different. Like in Florida, you don't bag the grass. You just mulch it. You just mow it. But here you have to. If you mulch it, it turns into a mess.
Yeah. Yes.
So again, started from scratch. But at least I knew to avoid certain mistakes, and I was able to start things off, using the CRM from the beginning. And so it just went well, and I was able to grow that to the point where I just couldn't. Because I needed more reliable people, and I couldn't charge anymore. After I couldn't find any more people, I just started raising prices every year, and that's when I decided, all right, Alex, time for something else.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But I mean, it's not different to other people who want to start online businesses,
No.
or, kind of a hybrid of, being as I do, face to face when we can, and being online. That's how my business will evolve now post COVID. And I think, a lot of people will wonder, can I start a podcast? Should I start a YouTube? And very often, especially women, the piece is, I don't know how. And first of all, I can say, having started a YouTube channel, it's super easy, super easy. But to do it nicely and to do it properly and to have it branded and to have your videos topped and tailed and all of those kind of things, that's stuff that you can learn. But you don't have to have that right away. I'm amazed when I see people who, they wait a year to start a podcast because they're researching.
I almost think you shouldn't have those things in the beginning, because it almost gives you this this unnecessary pressure that you literally put onto yourself, like, oh, I need to be operating at this level now because I've got this logo and I've got all this stuff behind what don't even know what I'm doing yet, So I encourage people, just get out there, just try the thing, see if you like it. You could end up spending a bunch of money on something and now you're almost committed to it and you don't even enjoy it, and that's the worst thing. So just get out there, try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you didn't spend any money.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I have been talking about apps, and that kind of came up organically when we met, but I love the idea of apps because I think I really can see where that's going to be the future.
Everybody's got their own app now. And it used to be an expensive thing because you used to have to hire a developer like me to go in there and literally code the whole thing out and get it ready, because you can't just make an app and throw it on the app store. It has to meet certain requirements and all kinds of stuff. So, but now, with the popularity of apps, we have all these different white label programs that you can almost like a website builder. You can just plug and play your own app, and then you have your own app that people can pay a subscription to use. And there's lots of different models, but it's just becoming easier.
And you found a platform that you like and you're thinking of using with your clients now?
Yeah, actually, the one we were talking about is passion.io. Nice. And she, the lady that had reached out to me who wanted to use it, and had never heard from her, but she actually just emailed me yesterday. So I didn't know that when we had spoken, but yeah, she said, Alex, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm just still putting all my ideas together, and we're almost there. So you'll be hearing from me soon. So I guess I will get in there and play with it. But
and how do those? I mean, you're just kind of starting out there, but how do those programs work? Are they kind of like a Squarespace? Do they have a template that you then add your?
I haven't gotten in there myself, but I have read through their documentation just to understand, what I'm getting into, and how to use it. And I've seen some videos of people using it, but yeah, it's very template driven. Or you can also forgo the templates and start with a blank slate. You can customize the heck out of it. You can go live in it. So there's different, depending on your business and I guess the kind of model you want to offer to people. It's not like one way, like you can only do this. And there are some other ones that are a little more basic and this is the way you use it. But what I like about Passion.io is that it's so customizable, for someone like me that loves to tinker with that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I have all the buttons and all that,
Okay. But for someone like me that doesn't, I just need to be able to put the basics in and make it work.
That's what the templates are for. Yeah. You just go with a template and drop your stuff in, and it's very, I love it. I mean, it's kind of like WordPress. WordPress can be easy to use with templates and certain plugins, but then it can also be very difficult if you're starting from a blank slate. So
yeah.
And you mentioned earlier, I assume with a lot of these programs, in terms of loading it to Apple servers and all that kind of thing, they've got that covered for you.
It is, right as soon as it's done, it actually uploads it to the store for you.
Oh, wow.
All within there, and you can manage your subscriptions in there, everything. So
this is a lot
white label app. What's that?
This is a lot like a podcast then, where you can upload your stuff to it, and then it just sends it out, right?
Mm-hmm. The content, people are using it for instructional videos or having a personal trainer. If you're a personal trainer, you can have your library of different workouts on there, but you also say, hey, Tuesday mornings at this time, everybody needs to be there, and that's when you go live in the app. And so you just, it's as close as you can get to having someone in front of you, they're there and they can talk to you and all of that.
Would that be something that you might adopt? Because you've got a lot of clients that need you sort of to just pop up and chat to them and say,
I've thought about it. Like I said, I just started this 4 months ago, and I don't know the direction it's going to go in yet. So for me to sit down and start creating content, I am a little, I don't want to say intimidated by it. I'm a little unsure of what to do yet, but for people that have been doing a thing for a few years and they've got it nailed down, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and they're ready to share that. It's tremendous for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anybody that wants to start a podcast, you can help them out with that. For anybody website, you can help them out with that.
Oh yeah.
For anybody who wants CRM or
just general organization and automating things. A lot of people that do online businesses have to do a lot of outreach. They have to constantly be communicating with people, and so just being able to automate a lot of that stuff without making it spammy. That's the trick, because when you're talking to a robot, when you accept a friend request and you get an instant message from them, it's automated. So putting in delays, just making it seem more human so that your conversion is better. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I still have all that stuff manual. I do have it, in a text replace on my phone, so I can just, type a couple of letters and that message will come up. But it is automated, which means that, or it isn't automated. which means that it might be a day before you get that message from me. I'll accept your friend request and then it will come up. But so I think I'm kind of more in the middle. I'm using shortcuts, but not, not fully automated.
That's fine.
I love that. See, that's a great tip. That you just shared there around, if you're automating, set up a delay,
Yeah. And a random delay. You just want to come across human to people. Everybody's using the internet. We all know, we're all starting to figure out what's human and what's not. And AI is huge now in terms of trying to figure out how to be more human with people online with communications, even with ads. They have AI now that will write copy for you. Like, it's ridiculous. So.
Wow, I would like that. Yeah, I would like that very much. Okay, so and you work mainly not on purpose, but you seem to work mainly with women. Why do you think that is?
I don't know if they just gravitate to me or I come across as non-threatening to them. I've had lots of people tell me, and it was weird the first couple times, but it's happened so many times now that I even feel comfortable sharing it. But I've had people tell me, Alex, I don't know what it is about you, but I trust you. And that was super weird to hear the first time. I was like, what's your angle here? But no, it's just happened so much now. And they should, I'm the kind of person that would go the extra mile just to protect my reputation or to make sure that I did what I said I was going to do for you. I'd rather do that than just, cut it off. Well, I only billed you for 10 hours. So that's it. That's all I was able to do. We're done. I'll put in the 20 just to make sure that I did what I said I would do in the 20 or in the 10. So I don't know, and I prefer working with them, I guess, even in landscaping where it's common for people to not pay the bill. I would have to spend time. Hey, did you get around to checks in the mail kind of thing, right? Women they always paid their bills. I don't know. I never had to worry about it. Like, if anything, it was like, hey, Alex, it's the first. I haven't gotten a bill yet. The first time that happened, I was blown away. Like, you're asking me for the bill. That's crazy. But I don't know.
Working with men, this is a terrible cliche, but it's like when a man has a problem with his car and lots of other men gather around him and they seem to think they know what's wrong with it. Do you find that in tech? That if you're trying to teach men, they think they know, or they don't want to admit that they don't know?
Yeah, there's a lot more, I think, pride or just ego present. I don't really know what it is, but it's just easier to work with women. I don't know.
There is a more willing, because my, Confidence Through Cabaret in this community is women and femme identifying. It's not only, but that's kind of the parameter that we set. But we have quite a few men in the community who are really comfortable to work with that, who are not femme identifying, but they appreciate the vulnerability and the
Yeah.
openness of women, and so they enjoy being in that, in that kind of community. And I think that women, especially if they really do want to do something, they work from a place, not all women, but and not never men, but they work from a place of emotion, from passion, from desire to help somebody or whatever their vision is, and you do come across as trustworthy, but you also come across as somebody that I could say, look, I'm going to ask you this stupid question because I don't know how to use Excel or whatever it is, and you won't laugh.
You're not the kind of person that would, exactly.
I think that the vulnerability part is huge, absolutely, and men tend to not do that, because I don't know if it's just evolution or the way we're brought up from prior generations, but we're shown, we're raised not to not come across as weak or don't make yourself vulnerable, and I know I was raised that way, and I luckily I don't have to do that,
Which is interesting coming from a man who was in the Navy, because surely that's that kind of
true. Yeah, and there's a lot of that in the military, and even the military itself is changing, and becoming a little more aware of things, and
if AI can become more human, then surely humans can be
become
more human.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think you get more done too when you can be honest and open about what you need, and I can be honest and open about what I can do for you. It gets to the end point a lot faster and more efficiently. So
yeah, and I think that pride and that confidence, and that's why I wanted to share your story and your business, around the community and everywhere that we can reach, because it is such an important thing. And I think for women to limit themselves just because they don't know how to do something, that's not the point. That's really not the point. You don't have to know how. You got to figure out what you want to do. You got to figure out where you want to get to, what's your vision, what's your market, and so on. And those things, there is so much information online to help you with that you can go through tutorials easily, because it is very much self-led. But once you get to the bit, and I know I would have got to the bit without these guys, would have just been, I don't know how. I didn't know how to go live on Instagram. Now I can figure it out, but I was so intimidated by Instagram that I didn't want to start pushing buttons. And I ended up, and I'll be really honest with you, I ended up making 3 Instagram accounts because I pushed all the wrong buttons, and I kept making new accounts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I kept pushing things and then going, oh, I've just made another account. I don't know how. Yeah. I didn't read the thing. I didn't read it at all.
I feel like Alex has a look on his face.
I know.
I've never come across that before.
I wasn't expecting 3 new accounts, but hey, I've heard of...
I'm 3, right? I made one on purpose, and then I made 2 more because I was like, oh, what does this do? And then
Alex
I started
with a lot of people, and he's never come across this.
But that's the thing is, like, if I can get past that and figure it out and completely screw it up and make 3 accounts that I didn't plan to, then anybody can do that, right? Anybody can. It's just about the resourcefulness. It's not about like having all the resources, and then it's very important for us to be able to have somebody that we can speak to, and somebody that's going to be patient and understanding and kind, and and not. So sometimes it's difficult to work with family members. For example, I know that if I asked one of my sons, they would have known Instagram like that. But the aggravation that would have gone on beforehand,
it's true. I actually can relate to that as someone who would get frustrated with my own parents, my own mom or dad, helping them. It was just like, I look back now and it's like, wow, Alex, you really, like, they wouldn't even want to come ask you anything for fear of, what you had to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now I'm having to force myself to be, actually not force myself, because I really do enjoy it. And I don't know what it was about my family. Even now, I would get frustrated with my mom. I could see that happening right now.
I'm not teaching my mom how to use a phone. No.
Right.
No, but can I just say, as a parent here, all right, your parents taught you how to eat from a spoon.
This is true. Yes.
So
this is true. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, good point.
and they didn't know, what is your problem? You should know utensils.
You got 2 hands, right?
Yeah.
Put everything else in your mouth.
Everyone else can do it. Everyone else can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it is just that, and very often we have to go outside of our circle to be able to do that. And again, I just want to say this because I know we've said it a couple of times now. You know, your business model for me is wonderful, that you will show somebody how to be able to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, you get them up and running, you'll help them out, and then you'll hand it over. And that is the ultimate in learning.
Yeah. I haven't found it yet, honestly. I've been actually looking for other companies to kind of emulate or learn from them how they do what they do, and I don't find it out there. Someone that's willing to just
does that. No.
teach you. It's almost like they want to hoard the knowledge so they can continue to cash in on it. And I don't know. I just think there's enough people out there that need help that's not necessary. So
it's really
Very
not.
true.
It's really not. Okay, so I want to. We will come back to where people can find you, and I because I really do believe in your business model and what you're doing. Before we do that, I just wanted to kind of go off on a little bit more of a confidence through cabaret kind of trail for a couple of minutes. So cabaret is really defined by being in a small venue. So most comedians, for example, would have started in cabaret because they wouldn't have got to start in the big time unless they, you know, knew somebody.
Right.
Singers, again, very often, and in cabaret, you typically expect to find singers. You'd expect to find dancers of various sorts, you know, burlesque, drag, contortion, aerial stuff, people with hula hoops, you name it. I mean, pretty much anything, but in small venues, you know, and entertaining small crowds. So if you were performing a cabaret act, what would you perform? What kind of style? What would you be doing?
Well, you know, I used to actually do breakdancing and raving. I was big into the electronic music scene, so I would probably do something along those lines with glow sticks and stuff like that.
It's like
Yeah.
the best dance we've had, I think.
I actually do that now. If I get too drunk at a wedding or something, I will totally get on the dance floor and start breakdancing. I'm not as good as I used to be, but yeah.
Brilliant.
I love that. Okay, and so you might have already answered this, but what one prop would you want to take with you on stage?
Glow sticks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
brilliant.
I love that. Normally people sort of say like big, you know, something like a big feather fan or something they can hide behind, or something. You know, we had one guy who was like, I'm taking my mug because my mug is like my barrier. It's like a protection.
Yeah.
And that, you know, and I'm like,
Now,
look at the crowd turns
two
on you.
glow sticks. We used to put them between my fingers and just go nuts, or get them on some strings, and I would do that for hours. Yeah.
Amazing. And you might already have this, but what would your stage name be?
Well, my DJ name was DJ Frivolous, which means silly and unnecessary. And so I shortened it to DJ Friv, but yeah, I'd say Frivolous, even to this day. Silly and unnecessary.
Love that. Yes. That is amazing. That is fantastic. Do you know what's I think blown my mind is that you already have the answers to this. You're like, yeah, I've done this. I've been there.
I've done some things. I've gotten out of my comfort zone more than once. I almost thrive on it now. So
yes,
yeah,
I feel alive.
And that is real. A true inspiration. that is a true inspiration. If anybody's thinking, I don't really have the confidence to do that, I'm not really sure about that, then just do it.
Which I'm sure is why people are comfortable with you, because you've just gone out and done it many times. You just
or I'm not afraid to, and I'll tell people, hey, I don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna figure it out together, and I'm gonna do it on my time. So
yeah, exactly. Nice.
Wow.
Really nice.
Wow. So where can people find you, Alex?
I mean, I tend to be on Facebook a lot. I don't really I know how to use them. I just don't really use a lot of the social media platforms. I'm actually kind of a private guy. I don't really, you know, I'm not the person to go live all the time. But yeah, I'd say either Facebook or you know, people can email me or go to my website, easybiz.tech, EASY. Everybody always thinks it's easy. My landscaping business was Easy Lawn Care, so I'm kind of sticking with the whole easy thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, EASYBIZ.tech is my website, and I've got my number on there. All my social media stuff's on there. So Yeah.
Brilliant. So anything, I mean, even if you have questions for Alex and you want to like run an idea of like, how do you think this would work? Then you can work out a plan together. If you already know what you want. And that, I mean, I'm saying that because I know you and I have talked about this before, but I'm saying that because sometimes people are like, I don't really know what I want, but I know that I sort of want, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out that too, because there's so much out there, and you don't know what you don't know. And so I love talking to people. I don't even charge to do it. I talk to people and give advice all day. Any chance I get. I'm on Clubhouse a lot too, just talking to people. And it's not until you definitely know what you want to do, and I have a plan for you, and you need help with it, that then I'll start charging you for my services. So I'd love to talk to anybody. If anything, I like it because it keeps me up to breast on what's going on. What are, I learn something with every person I talk to. So I encourage it.
Amazing. I'm so glad that we connected.
Yeah.
So glad to be sharing your services. I just really believe in this because I think it's a lifeline for a lot of people that have this passion and this calling and this desire, and they don't know what to do because the how is stopping them.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Everybody I'm working with now loves it, and I haven't advertised really at all. They've all recommended me to other people, and it's all sort of happened naturally. Which I like. That means it works. It gives me the confidence to keep doing what I'm doing. So
yeah, and that's just a fantastic kind of testimonial that people are recommending your services and passing that on word of mouth. Yeah.
It's the proof I need.
Thank you for coming here and
Absolutely.
sharing your business and your story with us. It has been such a pleasure. I'm sure at some point we'll come back to this. We'll circle back and we'll end up doing a live in the Facebook community about people are freaking out about podcasts or whatever the topic is, and pick that up. So, but for now, I really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Adrian,
Thank you
for being here because I was afraid of. I see here. I'm being really real with you here. I was like, I don't really have any interesting comments, but like as in questions to discuss, right? Like you and I can discuss, kind of the feeling and the how of the business, Alex. But then I was like, but what if it gets technical? Well,
exactly what we've been talking about. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I think I really appreciate you guys because you really do get it. That people need to be able to ask silly questions, even though you did laugh at my 3 Instagram accounts. Can I just say for the record, I still use all 3 Instagram accounts.
I was going to ask you, are you at least utilizing them now?
I am, out of pure determination that I've made them. So there was a reason that they needed to come into the world. And so I use them and I post different things on them.
Yeah.
Different aspects of me,
Yeah, that's important too. A lot of people try to do too much with one entity, and you want to be very specific and intentional with what you do.
Yeah, very, very good point. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us.
You got it. Thank you.
I am Heather. This is Adrian.
I'm Adrian.
We have been joined by the fabulous Alex, and I'm just reminding you that it is your body, it is your world, and it is your stage. Thank you for being here.
Bye.
Bye.